most human beings, there seems to be a natural draw to the water. Its views are calming and its embrace is refreshing. Perhaps this natural draw comes from the fact that we spent the first 9 months of our existence in it. And ever since birth, it's always been a part of us. 60% of our body is made up of water. It is literally in our blood. And during times of inexpressible joy or unspeakable sorrow, our deepest emotions are expressed by the salt water of our tears. The ocean is my comfort zone. It is in the water that I find the most peace in this crazy and chaotic world. And that's the reason why my heart resonates with the reality of the message of the song that you just heard. It is a song that takes us back to a well in Samaria. I myself had the privilege of visiting that well and drinking from its water years ago. It is a well where a promiscuous woman came in the heat of the day to hide from the crowds of the morning and the evening. She came seeking for that which could only quench her thirst for a little while. For her, her daily trip to the well was a burdensome routine, a physical necessity that constantly reminded her not only of her sinful past, but also of her shameful present. She was tired of hiding, tired of drawing, tired of thirsting. If only she could find another way to satisfy the thirst of her life. At that point, she had been with 6 different men and the whole town knew about it. She thought that she would never be good enough for a good man. She was a broken vessel that could not hold any water. She felt constantly drained by the headaches and the heartaches of life. Have you been there? Maybe that's where you are right now. Tired and weary and wasted. Lonely and empty and spent. Well, if so, allow me to remind you of the rest of the story.
Goes out with an ocean of love. Overflow me with grace that is found in His name.
One day, this promiscuous woman met a man unlike any other man she'd ever met before. She was trying to hide from the crowds on her daily trip to the well. But this man met her at her hiding place. He drew near to her in the place of her emptiness. He came at the time of her thirst. And in that encounter, he told her all that she ever did. He revealed to her that he knew her deepest, darkest, and dirtiest secrets. And as he flipped through the pages of her past and read the chapters of her present, this broken woman saw that there was no condemnation on his countenance, nor was there any judgment in his voice, but rather a kind and compassionate call, a gentle and yet earnest invitation to allow him to satisfy the deepest longings of her heart with the living water of his grace and love. And in that moment of time, this woman felt something that she'd never felt before, a truth that changed her eternal destiny. And it is the same truth that would change your eternal destiny today as well.
And I couldn't believe it.
She now knew that she was fully known and fully loved. And she realized that the one that knew her the very best was the one that loved her the very most. This reality was so overwhelming. How could he love me, she thought. He knows everything about me. How could he still want me when others despise me? Now she knew that the opinion of others didn't matter. Her value and worth was no longer determined by what other people said. As she saw her reflection in his eyes, it was enough for her to embrace a new identity and to accept a new beginning. She found healing in the soul of the river, newness in the dew in the rain. She was being immersed in the ocean of his love. The water of life made her complete. She had been with 6 men and was still unsatisfied. Oh, but when she met the 7th man, the perfect man, she was never the same again. My friend, have you met the 7th man? The one who, though he is pure and perfect, is not afraid to embrace our imperfections and impurities. The one who will take us as we are, broken and empty and lost, but he will not leave us as we are. He will satisfy our soul. That 7th man is Jesus. He is the only perfect man, but he's also the mighty God of grace, the sweet Savior, the compassionate King of kindness. He is the water when you're thirsty, the bread when you're hungry, the comforter when you're lonely, and the healer when you're sick. He is the provider when you're poor, the shelter when you're homeless. He is the covering when we are cold and naked. And if you come to him just as you are, he will heal your brokenness. He will fill the empty pot of your life with the living water. Then, like the woman at the well, he will make you a living water pot to share the water of life with those around you. So come and drink today. Don't allow the perception of others to hold you back. Allow Jesus to meet you at your hiding place, at the site of your shame and the place of your pain. And I promise you, there you will finally find what you've been searching for your whole life. Water, living water. Water that will cleanse you. Water that will fill you. Water that will flow through you. I invite you to come to the living water today.
There is newness that comes in the dew and the rain, as a father calls out with